The clerk will report the title of the bill.
H.R. 537, a bill to award a Congressional Gold Medal to 60 diplomats in recognition of their bravery and heroism during the Holocaust.
Pursuant to the rule, the gentleman from Nebraska, Mr. Flood, and the gentleman from New York, Mr. Torres, will each control 20 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Nebraska.
Madam Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members may have 5 legislative days in which to revise and extend their remarks and include extraneous material on this bill.
Without objection.
Madam Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
I rise in support of H.R. 537, a bill that will posthumously award the Congressional Gold Medal to the forgotten heroes of the Holocaust. Madam Speaker, on September 1, 1939, Adolf Hitler and the Nazis began their invasion of Europe, which started World War II and threw humanity into what would become one of our darkest periods in history. The Nazis sought the mass extermination of the Jewish people and wasted no time carrying out their vile plan. They hunted, rounded up, and sent Jews to concentration camps across Europe to be murdered in state-sponsored genocide that we now refer to as the Holocaust. However, a handful of diplomats from around the world took quick and heroic action to save Jews attempting to flee Europe. They resisted the anti-Semitic Nazi agenda, risking their families, careers, and lives to help innocent Jewish people flee persecution. Despite some receiving direct orders not to help the Jewish population, these diplomats issued passports and travel visas, set up safe houses and getaways to hide adults and children, and communicated with local communities to help fleeing Jews escape by traveling underground to safety. Because of the actions of these diplomats, hundreds of thousands of Jewish families in Europe escaped death at the hands of Hitler's Nazi regime. Although they were not the only ones who risked their lives to aid the Jewish community, today we celebrate 60 of those diplomats and honor their lives and actions with a Congressional Gold Medal. Sadly, anti-Semitism is an endemic and an unrelenting scourge on history, rearing its ugly head even today, just as it did 80 years ago during World War II. H.R. 537 honors those 60 diplomats who valiantly defied the systemic hatred by bravely doing what was right to stand up not only for the Jewish community, but of all mankind. It is my hope that their courage will continue to inspire Americans today. Madam Speaker, I support this bill. I urge my colleagues to support it as well. I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from New York is recognized.
I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentleman's recognized.
I rise in support of H.R. 537, the Forgotten Heroes of the Holocaust Congressional Gold Medal Act, sponsored by Representative Salazar and myself, following the sacrifices honored over the weekend on the anniversary of the historic Battle of Normandy. Congress today has the opportunity with this bipartisan bill to honor 60 diplomats from around the world in recognition of their courage, devotion, and sacrifice to rescue countless of Jewish and other persecuted people during the Nazi occupation of Europe. The Holocaust was the genocide of over 6 million Jews and millions of others by the Nazis, and has come to symbolize the depths of human cruelty, dehumanization, and mass violence. We remember the lives of over 10 million victims of Nazi Germany's persecution and mass executions, and today we recognize some of those individuals who demonstrated humanity and courage. The diplomats recognized by H.R. 537 and honored with this medal come from across the world. They faced a choice between being complacent with their then Nazi occupiers or following their conscience. Risking their lives and careers, they chose humanity and became heroes. After the Nazis took control of Germany and waged war in Europe, diplomats and foreign officials were in difficult positions. The diplomats recognized today made the decision to directly confront their own governments, the Nazi occupiers, and sympathizers to protect and rescue Europe's persecuted Jews. From issuing visas and protective documents to establishing safe houses with hospitals, nurseries, and soup kitchens for Europe's Jewish population, these individuals often defied explicit orders from their superiors. Individually, these diplomats saved thousands of Jews from persecution. With H.R. 537, each of us can honor their heroism and affirm for the whole nation how one person, one act of kindness, and one act of civil disobedience can make a difference. I urge my colleagues to support this bill, and I will reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Nebraska is recognized.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to yield 3 minutes to the bill's sponsor, the gentlewoman from Florida, Mrs. Salazar.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I rise today to urge the passage of my bill, the Forgotten Heroes of the Holocaust Congressional Gold Medal Act. Anti-Semitism has always been a tragic feature of world history, but there was no greater display of anti-Semitism than when the Nazis tried to wipe out the Jews from the face of the earth. Hitler and his satanic advisors were the architects of one of the cruelest chapters in the history of humanity, called the Holocaust. We all know too well the horrors of that period, but we all often forget the remarkable individuals across the world who, at great personal risk, helped millions and millions of Jews escape the death camps. H.R. 537 recognizes 60 diplomats, right here, some of them, who use their positions and influence to help those under persecution escape death. How? By issuing fake visas or hiding them in the embassies. They simply smuggled the Jews destined for concentration camps out of the hands of evil. These heroes come from a variety of nations, including the United States, El Salvador, Mexico, Peru, Ecuador, Chile, Spain, Italy, Poland, Japan, and even Nazi Germany. They displayed undeniable courage and embodied the best of humanity.